Conservative directors are sounding off about the liberal culture in Hollywood and fake news against President Trump. One America's Jack Posobiec caught up with director Robby Starbuck and has this report.
Robby Starbuck, thank you so much for sitting down One American News. Now tell me, because you're something of an anomaly, you are not just a conservative, but a vocal Trump supporter in Hollywood. What is that like?
Thanks for having me here. It's quite an experience. You know, I think one of the things people are surprised by with it is that some of the people that I work with are very outwardly liberal. I mean, they've been very vocal.
Certainly.
And when we touch on issues, we talk about things behind the scenes, it is very rare that they will actually disagree with me once we dive into the conversation and I tell them why I believe something and we go into the facts of it.
And you're not hiding it. You're not.
No, I'm not hiding it. My basic premise has always been, and I believe this in general, with a few exceptions based on what your job is, but I feel like at work people should generally kind of leave politics out of things. But I'm in a little bit of like position of power in my job, and sometimes some of the other position of power people are the entertainers. So those people sometimes want to talk about it. And in that case, I'm totally open, you know, like I'm not going to hide my views or sugarcoat them to make anybody feel more comfortable, you know. So, but what I found interesting is there's very rarely disagreements once we actually dive into why I believe something, where I'm coming from, and what the facts are. And I found I'd say about 85, 90% of the time, they don't know why they believe what they believe, which has been the most awe-striking thing to me. I mean, even with what's going on now, you know, immigration is a hot topic right now, and, you know, I've talked to one of my friends that's super liberal, and they're like, can you believe Trump's doing this right now, you know, separating kids from families? And I was like, did you see the picture of the kid in a cage? And they were like, yeah, I saw that. Isn't that horrible? And I was like, yeah, it didn't happen during Trump's presidency. That was actually when Obama was president.
2014.
Yeah, and he couldn't believe it.
And then when the president talks about fake news, that's what he's talking about. He's saying, you know, and certainly calls out people by name, but says they've covered up things at certain times, or in this case, they're talking about things that they didn't talk about before that have been going on for years, and they're just doing it to blame Trump.
Yeah, that's true. And what it comes down to is there's an unequal footing in terms of the framing.
Well, you're in Hollywood right now, and I know there's been a lot of talk going on with celebrities.
Yeah.
Are we starting to see a trend of celebrities come out for Trump? We saw Kanye.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian went to the White House. You're here. Do you think that a trend, maybe a small trend, but is a trend going to be starting?
I think that there's a sense of nuance, you know, where I know this from, you know, the behind the scenes conversations. There's people who are Republican that are just terrified to come out. They're absolutely terrified and they won't do it. And some of them would like really surprise people, but they would never come out because they're so afraid of what would happen in their career.
Do you think, and you mentioned your company and others in general, do you think that any of this could potentially, you would see some of these themes maybe coming up in any future work? These friction points that are coming up.
I mean, there definitely will be. I know quite a few projects and pipelines like all over Hollywood. I think that we're better when we can challenge each other. I think we're better when we can have conversations and disagree and then go out to dinner, you know, and be good friends. That just hasn't been the case anymore. Biggest thing I've noticed is where people are getting their information. I think that if we can come up with some way to have people agree on the basis of the information, you know, just agree on the facts. If we can get there to agree, yes, this is happening and this is happening with no framing at all. It's just like entirely fact-driven. And if we can get people to buy into that, and that's the basis of your conversation, the end result is going to be far different than what we're seeing. Because right now everybody is ingesting their side's most extreme view of the situation, and you kind of have to like break down every story, take certain words away, you know, opinion parts, and break it down yourself into what the facts are.
It's good to me.
Yeah.
Robby Starbuck, thank you so much for sitting down with One American News today.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.